Betos, widows, boys and girls, how are we all doing? Today, I'm going to be looking at Marvel movies. I adore Marvel movies. I would go as far as to say that I even enjoy some of the ones that other people hate. But a channel that I have spoken a lot about on my main channel and this channel is Cody Leach, and he's recently done a tier list called MCU Movies and TV Series Tier List Maker. So if you haven't seen a tier list before, this is a tier list. So at the top, we've got Goats Assemble, Marvelous, Multiverse of Meh, Needs Avenging, Hail Hydra, and Haven't Seen. Now, there's nothing going in haven't seen for me. Go and check out Cody Leach. He's even put these in date release order. Fantastic. And it's just a little bit of fun. So hopefully I'll get in less trouble than I did for my take on the Superman movie. I'll still think it sucked, no matter what you say to me. So the original Iron Man, the first movie, if this movie had not been the success it was, if it hadn't have been the sneaky success that it was, we wouldn't have the MCU. This thing is perfect. It's not just a good comic book movie, it's just a good action movie. It's got funny parts. The effects look amazing. I mean, in some regards, some of the effects in Marvel movies don't look as good as this did from all these years ago. Absolutely love this. I love Downey Jr., love the villain of Ironmonger. There's barely anything wrong with this movie at all. In fact, I struggle to think of anything I don't like about it. Fantastic. What a strong start for Marvel. And don't forget, Iron Man wasn't as well a known character to mainstream audiences. He wasn't like your Spider-Man, your Cap, your Superman, your Batman. He's a B or C list comic book character. For those outside of comic books, I mean, I loved Iron Man. I used to watch the 90s cartoon show. Loved this movie. Ed Norton's Incredible Hulk. This gets a lot of stick, and if you watch it in regards to what's going on in the MCU now, this film is even better. I like Ed Norton's portrayal of the Hulk. I liked the Hulk itself in this. He's more big, more feral, more muscular, and some of the effects look better on this than in others. But it's not a perfect movie, but I like the Abomination fight. The Abomination look is a bit off for me. But what are they going to do? Make him have those big, weird fish ears and stuff? I think they did that later. But yeah, Incredible Hulk, Ed Norton. I'm going to put it in Marvelous because I really, really enjoyed it. Iron Man 2. I liked Whiplash when he had Whiplash. I didn't like Whiplash when he became Ironmonger. If you know, you know. I like the recasting of Rhodey. I love the introduction of the Black Widow. But this film missed the mark somewhere. I can't quite put my finger on it. I think it's the villain. And Marvel have got an issue with villains for the most part. I wouldn't skip this film if I was ever going to rewatch the MCU, because there are one or two maybe I'd skip. So I'm going to put this in Multiverse of Meh. The original Thor movie. I am a Thor nerd. I've got a Thor statue up there. I've got a Thor Tiki statue there. A comic book statue down there. I've got a shelf full of Thor figures over there from Marvel Legends. I've got Stormbreaker and Mjolnir and the Infinity Gauntlet behind me. There's Thor artwork over there. I love the character of Thor. And I'm going to put this movie in Marvelous. The effects were really cool. Loki was an awesome villain that you could kind of identify with because he was a jealous sibling. The casting was really strong. Idris Elba, Anthony Hopkins, or Sir Anthony Hopkins, fellow Welshie. Tom Hiddleston, who was originally signed to play Thor. I'm glad it swapped because he is very good at playing menacing. This movie looks fantastic. It feels quite grand. There's almost like a Shakespearean thing to it, which has obviously come from Kenneth Branagh, who's directing. I have a lot of fun with this movie. Really enjoy it. Captain America, the First Avenger, is also going into Marvelous. Again, really strong casting, really great story. There's not much I can pick holes in this with, other than the Red Skull isn't quite the villain that he should be. Being a comic book nerd, I don't know how people who don't know the comics would feel about it. But the chemistry in this movie is spot on. Tommy Lee Jones is really good in this. Gemma Atwell, fantastic. Bucky, the character of Bucky, is really good in this. And being a comic book nerd, as soon as you see him fall, you know what's coming. And I was excited for it. It built some excitement. This is one of the movies I first watched with the 3D glasses and stuff. And yeah, if you're going to watch it, watch the 2D, not the 3D. Really takes you out of the movie. It looks weird. Absolutely fantastic. Love that movie. Next up, we've got Avengers, the first run, and there's only one place this can go, and that is Goats Assemble. So, after Hulk missed the mark for a lot of people, not for me, after Thor wasn't quite what some people wanted. Okay, I get it. The blonde eyebrows looked a bit silly. Iron Man 2 wasn't very well received. I think a lot of people were worried about the Avengers, and this thing was a juggernaut. The excitement around this was like something I hadn't seen in a long, long time for a film. The way they brought this ensemble cast together was really good. I loved the story. I loved Loki being the main villain. I like the Chitauri in this world-ending threat through this wormhole. I thought it was cool. I enjoyed the Hulk in this as well. I enjoyed Mark Ruffalo's performance. He was a bit, even though he's got a dark story, he was a bit lighter than Norton's. I just wish we'd seen the Hulk more in this, but the Hulk was borderline a villain for a part of this. You're like, holy, Hulk's going to cause more problems than anyone. I liked it. It can't be understated what the Avengers did for Hollywood and comic book movies. It changed the world. Iron Man 3, I know people hate this movie. I know people adore this movie. It's not quite Goats Assemble for me, but I'm going to put it into marvellous. I like Shane Black as a director, with exception to one film, The Predator. What was he thinking? Being a comic book fan, the Trevor Slattery thing should have pissed me off more than it did, but I laughed. I found it funny. And then they fixed that later on, so it's even less annoying to me now. Killian Aldrich, Guy Pearce is a great actor. He was an intimidating threat, so was the whole Extremist thing. I love the Extremist comic book. It doesn't have to follow beat for beat for me to enjoy it. I like these Elseworld stories from the comic books. There are a few bits to stop this being Goats Assemble. I mean, it's more of a Tony Stark movie than an Iron Man movie, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a few things that wouldn't put it in Goats. They're not negatives as such, just it wasn't as good as the two movies that I've put above it. When it first came out, if you'd asked me, I'd have told you it was the greatest thing Marvel had put out, because the first watch in the cinema, I adored this thing. Thor: The Dark World, this movie is not liked by people, and but I really enjoy it. The whole Seabass thing I found funny. The side characters from Earth were better in this than the first one. Yeah, it's more bleak. Yeah, it's more grey-scaled. It's not as pretty to look at, but I still really enjoy this. The chemistry does seem a little off with Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth. I don't know why. I don't really look behind the scenes into stuff. Loki was fantastic in this again. I really enjoy this movie. I can understand why people don't like it. Yeah, Christopher Eccleston was wasted as the villain. He's not a great villain in this, but I still really enjoy this. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. For a long time, this was not only the greatest Marvel movie, but one of my favourite movies of all time. The Winter Soldier is perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's a throwback to the old spy movies, but it's still got that Marvel thing to it. Cap is more believable in this than the first one, because in the first movie and in Avengers, his helmet looks a bit off. In this, it looks fine. We see how powerful Cap really is. The introduction of the Winter Soldier, for people that don't know the comic books, is really good. For me that knows who the Winter Soldier is, I knew who it was going to be. It was obviously Bucky, but it was just done so well. Bucky seems like a real threat. The fight scenes in this are bone-crunching, and some of my favourite scenes from Marvel movies are all in this film. The first fight with Cap, Falcon, and the Black Widow against the Winter Soldier in the car chase with Nick Fury. Those things are incredible tension and incredible action. There's just nothing about this film I can pull apart. I mean, you could say the fight with Batroc, because he's just a human and Cap is a superhuman, but Cap was holding back. Guardians of the Galaxy. It's another one in Goats Assemble. Now, despite being a comic book nerd, I knew who the Guardians were. I've read a few Guardians comics. I've got a few Guardians comic graphic novels. There's different lineups and stuff, which I think they're going to be bringing into the movies, and I didn't think this was going to work. People were raging about the soundtrack, and it's the type of music that I don't like. I think the Guardians themselves and the actors playing those characters are brilliant. Put all these people together, such strange characters, and then each get the moment to shine, each get character development, put it all in together in this really funny, good-looking film. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and it changed the Guardians of the Galaxy for everyone, because they were kind of unknowns, really. Avengers Age of Ultron. I think this may be a bit of a hot take because I don't hate this film like a lot of people seem to. Marvelous. When I was working nights on security, we were allowed to watch DVDs between patrols, and this was one of the DVDs I would take in constantly because I just really enjoyed it. The banter between the Avengers, the growth in characters, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk becoming more sort of depressed and concerned about what he does as the Hulk, and then the romance with him and Black Widow. But is it Black Widow actually being in a romantic thing with him, trying to calm him down? Is it just her putting it on to stop him hulking? James Spader as Ultron. I enjoyed it for this movie, but Ultron is supposed to be a much bigger threat. And to kill him off in one movie, yeah, I can see what... And that's what stops this going into Goats Assemble. But it looks cool, the introduction of the twins, Wanda and Pietro. Wanda's introduction is much better. Wanda's character is much better. They did Quicksilver a bit harshly in this, but I still enjoy it. I enjoy Ulysses Claw in this, which kind of throws us down the Black Panther hole. I don't hate this movie as much as other people do. In fact, I really enjoy it. Ant-Man, again, it's going into Marvelous. I don't have any nitpicks with this movie. Kind of, it's Iron Man all over again, the original Iron Man, but it's more of a heist movie, which I enjoy. Cast is very strong in there. The comedy elements are funny, really funny. The film looks really good. The CGI is really good. The practical effects, if that's what they used, nothing wrong with any of it. I enjoy this movie. The villain, I enjoy, but again, it's a bit too similar to Ironmonger. Otherwise, I could put it in Goats Assemble. Captain America, Part 3, Civil War. It's an Avengers movie, and it's going in Goats Assemble. The introduction of Spider-Man, love it, even though I don't love the Spider-Man movies in this franchise. Just saying. The introduction of Black Panther is spot on. The way they divide the teams up and who goes where makes sense to the characters and how they've behaved beforehand. The fight scenes are really good. I enjoy Baron Zemo. Sorry, I just do. Instead of him being this ridiculous villain, he's this string puller, somebody behind the scenes that's been manipulating the Winter Soldier and Cap for years. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Really good movie, really good action scenes, cast, effects, everything is just spot on for it. It's up there with the original Avengers for me. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'm a Doctor Strange fan, and meh. I don't hate this movie. I love this movie, but I've only watched it twice. I found the way to beat the villain at the end a bit meh. I loved the introduction of Doctor Strange, how he got his powers, the car accident. I liked all of that, but if you took away the special effects from this movie, which were fantastic, apart from the fact I'd seen most of it before in Inception, I don't know, Doctor Strange wasn't quite Doctor Strange enough for me, but it's an Elseworld, so I can see past that. I don't hate it. The villain, again, quite weak in this, even though I've got a Funko Pop of him up there. There's just missing a few beats in this movie. It looks and sounds great. It's well casted and well acted, but I don't know, there's just something off. The final boss, just... no. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I have to put it meh. I was so excited when Kurt Russell was cast as Ego, and then, I don't know, they expanded the Guardians team a little, but things were just off for me in this. It just wasn't as exciting as the first time. The soundtrack wasn't quite as good as the first time. And I left the cinema after watching this, like, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, but it's missing some magic from somewhere. But I don't know what it is. It wasn't quite as funny. It didn't quite have as much heart. And it was more a Peter Quill focus than the entire cast. Maybe that's what it is. Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't hate this movie. Multiverse of Meh. It's going to Multiverse of Meh. There's too much Iron Man. I love the character of Iron Man. I love Robert Downey Jr., but let Spider-Man be Spider-Man. I liked what they did. I liked with Michael Keaton being the Vulture. He was quite intimidating and imposing. The school stuff and having a younger kid cast as Peter Parker, an actual kid cast as Peter Parker, it worked. He's a very good Peter Parker and Spider-Man. The Tony Stark tech, it's not the Spider-Man I wanted. It's not Spider-Man's first adventure that I wanted to see. I'm glad they skipped over the origin and, with great power comes great responsibility till later on, and it comes from Aunt May, which was cool. But it's just a bit meh. I don't dislike it. I won't not watch it, but it's not the Spider-Man movie that I particularly wanted for me. Thor Ragnarok. This may annoy some people, but it's a goat. before they brought in the goats. I love this movie. Really funny. It's really vibrant. So it brings the colour and the vibrance of the original Thor, but then blends more of that Marvel humour in that works because of the director, Taika Waititi, who they probably should have reined in a bit on the third one. Just saying. But Valkyrie's cool in this, having the Hulk and Thor as a buddy-up system, and then even Loki becoming a buddy, but he's always a bit of a menace in the background. Was really cool. Hela was hella scary. Jeff Goldblum was great in this. Scourge was great in this. I just really... it's one of the most fun of the movies to watch. The stakes are high in it, but you're still laughing, even though Thor goes through absolute hell. He loses his dad, and his sister rips his eyeball out. But it's still funny, and they haven't quite reduced Thor into this bumbling dumbass that they did later on, which I really, really dislike. Next up, we've got Black Panther. I know. Listen, the story is good. Chadwick Boseman is amazing. But this thing being so culturally important, really good. But the CGI in this is absolute dog shit. The rubber band men fighting towards the end of this, I just couldn't get. It took me completely out of the movie. It's the same effect that was used in Blade 2 decades earlier, and it completely took me out of the movie. And I watched this quite late into its cinema run, and people were gassing it up so much. I was expecting the greatest Marvel movie of all time, and that's not what I got. I like the villain. I like Jordan as the villain. I love Chadwick Boseman's performance. I like the backstory. I like Wakanda. It looks fantastic. Ulysses Claw coming back, fantastic. But it just wasn't what I was promised. The special effects seemed to take a downgrade for such an expensive movie, and it just completely ruined it for me. I'd gone to expect this masterpiece, and I'm come at the end like, that film looked shit. I'm really annoyed at it, and I've never got over that annoyance for it. Avengers Infinity War. It's got to go in goats. Got to go in goats assemble. To pull all of the Avengers and then all of the characters from all of the other movies and put them in this big ensemble and have them actually lose. Amazing. The best villain we've had in Marvel thus far in Thanos. Powerful, scary. He's been lurking behind the scenes from quite early on. The way he dismantles the Hulk early on, and you're like, Thanos is gonna fuck shit up. I love this movie. I love how everything comes together. I like how they have these separate teams. It makes sense how they have these separate teams. Cap and Tony are still not quite friends, and Cap's off in hiding because of the Accords from Age of Ultron. And this movie looks and feels fantastic. And until the next part came out, I thought it was the greatest thing Marvel had ever done, with exception to the Winter Soldier. I still love the Winter Soldier more. Now, I get it. We all knew they were going to come back, or most of them were going to come back. We knew that the snap wasn't going to be permanent. Otherwise, why have they spent years building up to this point? But even so, when Spider-Man gets dusted, it's like, oh, not the kid. Not the kid. And then you're genuinely worried. You're like, is my favourite character going to go? Is Thor going to get dusted? I hope not. Is Tony Stark going to get dusted? And then when you're left with the team at the end, you're like, how are they going to beat Thanos when all of them couldn't? Shit got real. Absolutely loved the movie. It felt like the biggest thing I'd ever seen. The buzz was incredible. This movie poster was everywhere. It stayed in the cinema forever. And this is where I started collecting Marvel Legends MCU figures and basically wanted to build out the Infinity War cast, but some of them are really hard to get hold of and really expensive, so I never did it. Now I've got all of the characters, but from multiple films. I adore this movie. Ant-Man and the Wasp. After such a high of Avengers Infinity War, of course Ant-Man and the Wasp was going to be a bit meh. And that's exactly what it is. I love Walter Goggins in this. I love Walter Goggins in everything. Fantastic actor. I like Michelle Pfeiffer's character in this. Obviously Michael Douglas again. Ant-Man is cool. There's nothing wrong with this movie. It's just a bit meh. We get Giant Man. That was cool. The comedy landed again. And I don't know why it's not as enjoyable as Ant-Man. It just isn't. For me anyway. The villain again. Obviously Ghost. Meh. That's all I got to say about that. Captain Marvel, people hate this movie because of Brie Larson. I don't get it. I don't know what she's done behind the scenes, why she's so hated. I don't share that hate. I don't care to understand what that is. I'm watching a movie, not what the woman behind it is doing. The 90s nostalgia was cool. I grew up in I was born in the early 80s, but I grew up properly in the 90s. I found that cool. God damn did they do Nick Fury's eye an injustice in this thing. Absolute travesty. They turned Nick Fury's eye loss, something we've been wondering from day one, into a cat scratch for comedy. And it was like, oh. Brie Larson is very good in this. She's a very good Captain Marvel. She's a little too cocky and a little bit too quiet for such a cool character from the comics, but I really enjoyed it. But again, the villain, Jude Law, is almost like sleepwalking through this film. I didn't really enjoy his performance. I didn't enjoy the Skrulls not being villains. I've always seen the Skrulls as villains, and then that was such a swerve. I'm like, yeah, I don't like that. Sorry, I should have put that in meh. Don't hate the film. I enjoy the film. I can rewatch it. There we go. Now, Goats Assemble. Clearly Endgame is going in there. It is the greatest ensemble comic book movie ever created. It's my favourite of the Marvel movies. I adore Avengers Endgame. Obviously, we've still got that lingering threat of Thanos. We're still missing most of the cast, and it's like, how are they going to do this? And then they introduced time travel, and I'm like, oh, you've got to be careful with time travel, but the way they play on it and the way they play with movie time travel and try to explain things and the branching timelines which sets up Loki and stuff, just absolutely perfect. And then I have never had this experience in the cinema. I have never gone and watched a film in the cinema and seen people give a round of applause at the end. I have certainly never seen people stand up, cheer, high five and yes in any movie at any point in my time and go into the cinema. It happened numerous times in this movie. When Cap caught Mjolnir, the cinema cheered. On your left, the cinema cheered. The end of the movie, standing ovation. I've never, ever experienced that. I thought this film was absolutely incredible. And I was a bit worried after the cinema, and I went to watch this a further twice after the first viewing. I was a bit worried that on home release, you wouldn't get that buzz because you haven't got the cinema feeding you adrenaline, and it worked. The whole cinema cheering. I've never experienced it before, and I haven't experienced it again, and I doubt we ever will. But what a movie. It looks so good. It's smart, it's still funny, but it's heartbreaking, and it's got real repercussions. You know, with us losing the Black Widow and Gamora and Tony Stark, it's like, holy shit, they went for the throat. And with exception to stuff that they've done retroactively, but these people were supposed to stay dead. I did like the smart Hulk for this story, but I was hoping they'd change him back towards the end of the film, and they didn't. I don't want the smart Hulk. I don't want the smart Hulk anymore. But fantastic movie. But what a great movie. It's in my top 5 of all-time movies. It's just an incredible piece of cinema. Amazing. And the next film has got to follow that up. And it's like, god damn. But it is going into Marvelous. I still don't like the amount of tech the Spider-Man's got. I still don't like that he can't have his own movie without people propping him up. Like Quentin Beck for a good portion of the movie, but then that twists and that's fine. But Sam Jackson is there and it's just a bit... But I like the fish out of water element where they've taken him to Europe and he's got to wear the suit inside out. Iron Man leaving glasses that could destroy the world to a teenager that he's met a couple of times. And then that teenager giving them to Quentin Beck that he's just met is stupid. But it works for the movie. I like the illusions that were coming from Mysterio. Now, if you didn't know anything about Mysterio, the character, and you saw all of that come in, fair. I understand why this isn't for you, but to me it worked because that was his character, so he's supposed to do. I kind of liked that he was an ex-employee of Stark that got ultimately fucked off with him. It's not... In Goats Assemble, it's not quite on the level of the movies above it, but for one of these Spider-Man movies, it was really good. WandaVision. Hail Hydra. I had people ranting and raving about this movie, like this series. It's incredible, it's brilliant, it's amazing, you're going to love it. And I'm not a sitcom guy. I don't watch sitcoms. I've never really enjoyed them, and I'm just like, what am I watching? And I tuned out. I actively started skipping episodes, and then I was just looking for the parts that would be important to the MCU. Then they introduced Quicksilver, and I was like, ooh, what are they going to get around this? Is this how we get the X-Men and the mutants? Count my fat ass in as interested. And then that became a joke, and I'm like, no, none of this landed. In fact, I watched the end. I know White Vision is in there, and there's a big sky fight, but I barely remember anything about this. And then to watch Doctor Strange Multiverse is like, what the hell? Why is Wanda being so weird? Because this TV show is so forgettable. I forgot. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I was so looking forward to this. I like Anthony Mackie. I like Anthony Mackie as Falcon and potentially Cap. Love the Winter Soldier. Love Baron Zemo. But wow, was this need avenging? They took some really strong characters and elements and just meh. The first episode, absolutely incredible, and then there's just filler. For the sake of filler, for ages and ages. The new Cap as a villain, that story was kind of cool, but these superpowered people running around, just, no, it didn't work. And then you get to the end, and I'm like, oh, that white suit looks awful. I know it's comic book accurate, but it just didn't work for me. I wanted to enjoy this. I got very bored of it very quick. It's better than WandaVision. Loki's first season, I'm going to put in marvellous. I really enjoy Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I enjoyed this sort of TVA timeline pruning, trimming, the cartoon clock and everything. Be like, there's something sinister going on here. It's a mystery show, and I really enjoyed it. Owen Wilson, really good in it. Doesn't say wow. I just loved this. It also looked like it cost more money to make than Falcon and WandaVision. Black Widow, I don't hate it, but it's going in multiverse of meh. If they had brought this movie out before Infinity War and Endgame, with his stakes for the Black Widow, it would have been better. They ruined Taskmaster. Being a comic book nerd, absolutely ruined it. Taskmaster should be borderline unbeatable by anyone other than, like, Deadpool. Or somebody with massive superhero powers. But this film is still fun. The ending, again, they've completely botched the ending. It's way too much. She's not superpowered and takes that fall from the sky. Just completely unbelievable. However, the Red Guardian is great. Yelena is great, played by Florence Pugh. We'll get to that in a bit. I think she's a fantastic Black Widow, a fantastic actress. It's an enjoyable movie. Ree Winstone is a good villain. And, you know, another string puller. But it was just like, she's died in the movies. Why have you done a prequel to her death? It makes no sense. Help me make sense. But it introduced us to some great characters. In fact, I'd agree with Cody that the side characters are better than the Black Widow. Yelena, Red Guardian, even the Mum. They were better characters. Marvel What If. I'm going to put this in multiverse of meh. There are some episodes of What If that I've loved. There are some episodes that I have turned off because they just bored me to tears. And I put it in meh, but it slightly needs avenging. Some episodes seem to be done for filler. I'm not a huge cartoon guy anymore, but I did watch X-Men 97 beginning to end and absolutely love it. But yeah, it's meh. Hit and miss. I'll watch it. Would I rewatch it? No. Did I enjoy some episodes thoroughly? Were others crap? Yeah. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, where they undo the mistakes of Iron Man 3, bring in some of the best choreographed fight scenes in Marvel movies ever. And it's going into marvellous. I can't quite put it into goats. As a comic book nerd, I know very little about Shang-Chi. I've got a couple of his comic books, but for some reason, they never really appealed to me, even though I love martial arts films, or I certainly did when I was younger. There's a good, strong villain in this. There's good twists and storyline, and the relationship with his sister, the relationship with his friend, how he's trying to hide his past. All really cool. The Ten Rings were cool, but then that ending with the two monsters smashing into each other, two dragons, I was like, this has got Mortal Kombat Annihilation written all over it. Nowhere near as bad as that. I still enjoyed it. I understood where the power come from. It's a comic book movie. It's a great fun watch, and it seems to be really unappreciated as well. Like, a lot of Marvel fans just didn't watch it and won't watch it. It's actually really, really good. The Eternals. I was excited for this movie because I'm a big fan of the Eternals graphic novels and comic books. Wow, was this thing meh. In fact, it was beyond meh. It was a beautiful looking film, but other than that, it was very forgettable, very boring. And at times I couldn't work out which actor was playing which Eternals from the comic books. Because I'm like, unless they're showing off their powers, I'm a bit lost here. And then there was gender swaps and all sorts of really weird decisions for this movie that I just, meh. I've watched it once. I'll never rewatch it. It was a slog. And it was instantly forgotten after. Even forgotten by Marvel until the new Captain America. But I just didn't enjoy it. Great looking film, but everything else just meh. Hawkeye, the TV series, I don't hate this as much as a lot of people do. It was far more enjoyable than Falcon, far more enjoyable than WandaVision. I've actually watched it twice because I found it quite enjoyable. It was out over Christmas, so that that feel-good factor around Christmas, all the Christmas lights and the snow, the bombshell of Kingpin being back. I was like, are they going to link this into Spider-Man? I like the casting of his daughter. Fantastic. Really, really enjoyed it. Is it marvellous? No. For the TV efforts, I think it was one of the best. I don't understand the hate for it. Spider-Man No Way Home. I can't put this into GOAT because I think this movie is only as popular as it is because of the other Spider-Men. And again, Spider-Man not being allowed to stand on his own. It's still Tony Stark heavy, even though he's dead. It's still Doctor Strange heavy. We need Doctor Strange to set the movie up. We need. Let Spider-Man be Spider-Man. But once we let Spider-Man be Spider-Man, all three of them, and we get this version of the Sinister Six, and we get the Aunt May, it's such a good film. Really good movie. Directed by John Watts. It's good, it's fun, the effects are cool. I was one of those that grew up watching Spider-Man cartoons in the 80s and 90s and really bad TV show versions of Spider-Man. I was never a big Tobey Maguire Spider-Man fan. I loved Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but the movies he was in weren't great. This was like a full circle, everyone gets redeemed story arc, and it reset Peter Parker. We were going to get a Spider-Man solo movie, ground level, and now I'm being told the Hulk and Punisher are in there. Keep the Punisher in there, he's a ground level superhero. The Hulk is not a ground level superhero. I don't know why they can't get Spider-Man right. The most right they've got the character for me was Tobey Maguire, but I didn't like his acting. Andrew Garfield is probably my favourite Spider-Man of them. He was a little too cocky. Tobey Maguire was too mopey. Tom Holland is probably perfect, but let him have his Spider-Man moment. Please. For the love of God, please. Willem Dafoe is done right in this. Octavius is done right in this. The Lizard is shortchanged. Sandman is done right in this. Electro is done right in this. I loved it. The after-credit scenes have been ultimately pointless, but really enjoyed this movie. Looks great. Sounds great. Well acted. The Aunt May death was like, oh, I did not see that coming. God damn. Parker really is on his own. There's stakes in this movie, which is the first time I felt the stakes for Spider-Man, because, he hadn't long been killed off and dusted. Moon Knight. Oh, I was so excited for Moon Knight. Really, really excited for Moon Knight. And this CGI shitfest absolutely ruined it for me. Now, I like the portrayals Oscar Isaac does for Mark Spector. Why can't I remember the other name? But both personalities, it's the first episode was fantastic. Set it up so well, and then I'm looking at this giant hippo on a boat, and I'm like, can we go back to that weird shit where they keep waking up as different people? Because that was much better. Ethan Hawke's villain in this, he's just there. Hey, that guy walks on glass. Alright, he's got a powerful judgmental cane or something, and just ultimately forgettable for such a cool character. And again, giant monsters smashing into things. Oh, you didn't need to do that with Moon Knight. Make him more like Batman. It's a Batman-esque character. I never got it. And it's a shame because it was well acted. There were elements of it I enjoyed, but ultimately forgettable. And just stick him in the movies. Forget about the TV show. Bring him in the movies. Both versions. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. This film surprised me that everyone hated it. I'm like, this is a Sam Raimi film, apart from the bits clearly where Marvel Studios were like, we'll make that bit. People hated the fan service of, Professor X and the fan casting ideas behind Reed Richards, Professor X. I loved it. I loved it for the fact that it showcased how powerful and demented the Scarlet Witch had become after the events of WandaVision, which I had to look up because I was like, what? Why is she so angry? How she got so powerful? I don't understand any of this. Borderline goats assemble. Really enjoyed this film. Really enjoyed the travel through the multiverses. Loved the effects of it. The different types of multiverse worlds that we got. The jokes land in this. I struggled to find anything bad other than it's tad disjointed in places where it's like, this is the Raimi section. Well, there's Feige. There's Raimi. There's Feige. But there's nothing wrong with this. I loved the villain. of the Dark Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch. Nothing wrong with any of it. Really enjoyed it. Miss Marvel, the TV show, I couldn't get into it. It's another one where it's like the beginning was quite strong and then it went off the boil and then I'm like, what am I watching? I did watch it all the way through, but I don't really remember it. And then the ending was okay because it set up the future for Marvel and the Marvels and the X-Men from a different dimension. I was like, yeah, that was cool, but ultimately it wasn't great. I watched it. It was not too bad. Thor: Love and Thunder. The first watch of this, I remember getting about 3/4 through the film and being aware that the audience had become bored of it, and I was still laughing. And I think I tried to convince myself that I enjoyed this movie more than I did. I still find the screaming goats funny. I don't know why. They were a Twitch redeem for years for me on Twitch, but the character pivot of Thor has been so inconsistent. Like Thor Ragnarok, he's funny, and then the next Avengers movie, he's deep, dark, brooding, and serious, and then he's back being stupid. But they made him so stupid in this. They made him and his facial expressions way over the top. Taika Waititi completely lost his mind with this. Thor Ragnarok was like, oh, I'm going to watch everything Taika Waititi's put out, and he's made some good stuff. He's also released some cack, and this is one of them. Hail Hydra. I tried to rewatch this a couple of months ago, and I was just like, oh, this film is so bad. I liked Lady Thor. I liked Christian Bale's portrayal in this. Christian Bale is evil. Borderline Fred Krueger levels in this. But he's stuck by all these rainbow colours and a love triangle with Mjolnir, Stormbreaker, and Thor. And I'm just like, oh, please. Please make this end. Please, please, please. And the effects ain't that great in places. The effects around Christian Bale's God Butcher are fine. But the CGI Thor helmet, and I stupidly bought the entire range of figures from Thor Ragnarok. I stupidly bought the entire Marvel Legends wave of Love and Thunder figures, and the movie's cack. But I needed a Star-Lord, more Thors. I mean, the look of Thor with the ripped red jacket, that was cool, but nah, Hail Hydra. She-Hulk. Hail Hydra. I think I managed it all. It was very forgettable. Daredevil turned into Blade 2 style rubber band shit. I was fully aware of this, of being beaten around the head with women are better than men. Normally I don't pick up on that stuff because I don't look at social media all that much. The casting, the Hulk being in her, a smart Hulk, meh. The effects itself of She-Hulk, meh. The twerking, some of the episodes are god-awful. Some of the villains for an episode are god-awful. It was like all of the things I really, really didn't dislike about WandaVision, they put in this, turned it slightly Ally McBeal, and I'm like, I hate this. I think I hated more than Love and Thunder. And I was excited for She-Hulk, the fourth wall character, breaking Marvel. Nah, dog shit. Werewolf by Night. I had no idea they were making this. It just appeared on Disney Plus one day. I was like, oh, I'll check this out. Wait, that's Marvel Studios? Oh, I'll take a look. And it's going in Marvelous. Uh-oh, we've crashed. It's going to Marvelous. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it in black and white so they could actually tear heads off, and it's available in multicolour now, and I haven't watched it in multicolour. I just wanted to watch it in black and white the way it was intended. It's a throwback to the old black and white Universal and monster movies and stuff, which I love. I've got Universal movie figures everywhere. Really enjoyed this. The effects were cool. It was a bit wacky, and it was like if Universal had the budget Marvel do and was still making the movies like they did, this is the perfect example of it. Really enjoyed it. It's like just less than an hour. I can't wait for the Punisher. What are they calling these? Special one-offs or whatever? One-shots? No one-shots. That was the shorter stuff. I can't remember what they're called, but I really enjoyed that. We got some surprise characters towards the end of it. You know, we got Man-Thing, and I'm like, cool. It is Man-Thing or is it Swamp Thing? I don't know. Marvel and DC need to stop copying characters. The Flash and Quicksilver. Thanos and Darkseid. Swamp Thing, Man-Thing. To the point where I can't tell some of them apart. I can. Not Swamp Thing and Man-Thing, though. Swamp Thing's DC, right? We check the Funko Pop collection. Swamp Thing is DC. Man-Thing is Marvel. Yeah. The little introduction of him, cool. Wakanda Forever. This is a hard one because Marvel were dealt a shit sandwich and they had to make whatever they could out of it. Unfortunately, Chadwick Boseman, who was great as the Black Panther, unfortunately passed away, horrifically passed away, very young from cancer. And you could see it in some of his later movies, the amount of weight he lost. Horrible, horrible illness. And they somehow had to try and save the Black Panther character. Was Shuri the way to go? Should they have recast? Recasting would have been insensitive. So they did what they could with Shuri stepping up, and I hope they recast now we've had time to grieve. But unfortunately for me, this is another needs avenging. It's no better or no worse than the original Black Panther. Kind of like Namor. Angela Bassett's acting is out of this world in this. I mean, I think she got a nod from the Emmys for it. She should have won, but for the most part, I just didn't enjoy it. Again, it was a bit meh. Sorry, I know. Guardians of the Galaxy, the holiday special, marvellous. Listen, I know it's cheesy. I know it's stupid to go and kidnap Kevin Bacon for a Christmas present for Star-Lord, but it's Guardians of the Galaxy. They are stupid, but they're heroes at the same time. I'm not going to spend too long on this. It's a fun Christmas thing. I really enjoyed it. I laughed all the way through. Oh, actually, we are going to have two I have not seen, because I haven't seen Fantastic Four yet, and I haven't seen the Spider-Man cartoon. I'm probably not going to. So there's the two I haven't seen. Right. This was nowhere near as bad. These are not in order in these lists, by the way. Quantumania wasn't anywhere near as bad. Kang as a villain, I understand the hatred for the actor, but as a villain in this, it was like, he's the next big threat. Ant-Man, a load of ants are just taking him out on his home turf. Nah. The film looked cool, it felt cool, some of the jokes were landed, some of them didn't. Peter Venkman turning up was a bit like, strange decision, but it is what it is. I don't hate it, but I can certainly enjoy it, and that's pretty much all I got to say on that. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. What a way to send off that iteration of the Guardians. I thought it was heartbreaking in places. The stuff with Rocket is really sad. The stuff with Peter wanting to go home, and the way the team sort of dissolved, but reform with a different lineup. I thought this film was great. It was every bit as funny as the first one. It took all of the bits I didn't like of the second one and just dumped them, and then made something equal to the first one, in my opinion. Great casting, great directing, some proper heartfelt moments. Just really, really enjoyable. I'm going to put it in GOATs with the first one. I'll probably just skip the second one if I ever rewatch the MCU and just go Part 1, Part 3. Secret Invasion, Hail Hydra. I don't know what Marvel were doing. The idea of it sounded really cool, an espionage thriller TV show in the vein of Winter Soldier, and that's not what we got. We got bits of Extremis Iron Man in here. We got the most random, wacky shit in here. I barely remember this. I did get all the way through it, but I regretted wasting the time on it. I just really, really didn't enjoy it. The Marvels, I'm afraid that's going in meh. Wasn't as good as the original Marvel. I don't think the chemistry, but I think the chemistry with Kamala and Miss Marvel were cool, but Monica Rambeau, not so much. Can't really remember the villains. I don't know why I can't remember the villains, but yeah, it's a very forgettable movie. The only thing I remember about it really is, Beast from the 90s cartoon, but in Kelsey Grammer form. It's just meh. Will I watch it again? I don't know. Is it as bad as any of these? No. Bit better than Miss Marvel. Echo, Hail Hydra. I was actually excited for this one. This one looked really good, but why did we need an Echo standalone? Why shoot the Kingpin in the face to have to undo it not very long after? You put Daredevil in, which hypes up this excitement, and it worked for those scenes, but then for everything else, you're just like, I don't care about anyone in this. I didn't enjoy it. Really, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't, it was nowhere near as bad as Invasion, She-Hulk, Love and Thunder. In fact, it's better than most of these. But yeah, just very, very forgettable. Deadpool and Wolverine. I understand everyone saying it's just fan service, it's just this, it's just that. I was a bit worried about Hugh Jackman coming back, but the way they did it left the legacy intact. This film is funny. This film is really funny. It's buddy cop action from the 80s amplified up. They hard R-rated it, which I think is the only way to do it in Deadpool solo movies. The fight scenes are spectacular. I loved all of the crazy shit that I don't really enjoy from the multiverse, but in this it somehow works, maybe because of the craziness of Deadpool's character. I love seeing the Human Torch back, but it's like, is that Cap? Oh, right, it's the Human Torch. All right, and then he gets off. Wesley Snipes stepping forward, and you're like, holy shit, we got Blade, and then Channing Tatum's Gambit, and I'm like, that guy has waited decades for this. I salute you, movie. The villains were cool, the fight scenes were cool, the music was awful, but in the best way possible. It suited this film. I had a whale of a time in the cinema with this. I went twice, and then when it came out on home rental, you can rent it a couple of weeks earlier. I did that, and now I watch it on Disney all the time. If I've got nothing else to do and I just want something to giggle along to, because comedy films haven't been great for a long time, Deadpool and Wolverine is it for me. Absolutely brilliant. I love it. Agatha all along, right? I should put this in haven't seen because I only watched the first episode. But it's going into Hail Hydra. The first episode was that bad, I turned it off. I don't like this character of Agatha. I don't like the way it's acted. I'm not saying she's a bad actor. I'm saying the way she is directed to play this character, looking at the camera, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, just pisses me off. I don't like it at all. I don't think I even got through the full first episode, and I'll never go back to it. Why did we need an Agatha spin-off? We didn't. It was shit. Captain America, Brave New World. Ooh, people don't like this movie. Ooh, it's unpopular. I liked it. I'm going to put it in multiverse of meh. It is better than the Marvels. It is better than Quantumania. It is better than Hawkeye. It is not better than Black Widow. It's not better than Captain Marvel. It's better than Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's not better than Spider-Man, Galaxy 2, Doctor Strange, Iron Man 2. No, it's not better than some of those. It's better than others. But it's certainly not on the level of any of these up here. But it was fine. It was... I think this film was kind of thrown to the wolves because there's a Hulk movie in here. There's Falcon and the Winter Soldier Season 2 without the Winter Soldier in here, really. Cap being able to take punches from the Hulk with the shield, fair enough. With the wings, nah, he should have been dead. But Harrison Ford is fantastic in this, a good villain. I like the fact that we bring back some of the cool stuff from the Incredible Hulk movie. The movie in places looks fantastic, in others it looks a bit ropey, like they've rushed and reshot, which they did. It's nowhere near as bad as everyone said. It's not boring. It's a fun movie. I don't have any issues with it. It's just not as good as the stuff above it. Daredevil. I loved the Netflix Daredevil. Absolutely adored it. Loved the casting, loved the pacing, loved the show. Then they announced they were bringing it to Disney, but only certain characters, and they weren't going to be looking at Netflix like it didn't exist. And I was like, but it did, because they reference things in the Avengers. And then they scrapped that. Marvel looked at the episodes that had been put together and went, no, this isn't good enough. We need to change the cast. We need to change this. We need to change that. And unfortunately, those harsh changes between two studios stand out by a country mile. The first fight scene with Bullseye and Daredevil, I think I posted about it on Facebook. Everybody was raging about it. I'm like, it was awful. It's Blade 2 CGI rubber band men. If your budget doesn't stretch to give you the look of the movies, then don't do it. We got away with enough with Daredevil without the jumping around. I understand that's his character in the comics, but I didn't even realise I missed it until you tried to add it in, and it didn't look right. I like the Kingpin's return to power. I like Matt Murdock's return to Daredevil and the slow turn back, but that's what it is. It's called Daredevil Born Again, but it's not. It's Matt Murdock Born Again. Daredevil's barely in it. You see, there's certain episodes where there isn't a fight scene, and I'm like, the hell is Daredevil? As a Kingpin arc, it's really good. As a Daredevil arc, not a Matt Murdock arc, they did away with Karen and Foggy, but then brought in replacements. Just leave them out of it, or use Karen and Foggy. And you can see where Marvel stepped in, bringing in Bernthal's Punisher, and those elements worked much better. It was just the CGI in some parts that really let it down. It was a hard task for them to bridge Netflix into the MCU and give him his own series, but allow him to be in the movies. It's fine for that, but it's not something I'll ever rewatch. The Thunderbolts. I enjoyed this movie so much. It's not quite in GOAT status territory, but nearly. If I was going to put it in order of any of these in there, Thunderbolts would be top of this marvelous list. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, they took a bunch of characters that people don't care about and made this really heartfelt movie about them. Again, Taskmaster is done dirty proper dirty in this. But the Sentry is cool. The way he has the dual personalities is really cool. I love the way these guys bicker and fight and can't stand each other, but then come to have to rely on each other. Bucky getting involved. They even made John Walker's Cap, or what was Captain America, John Walker, they even made him a likeable character in this, which isn't easy because he was so dislikable in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I had a whale of a time with this film. It was far better than I thought it was going to be, because when people were blowing smoke about it, like, this is great, this is fantastic, this is amazing, I was like, it's going to be awful. I know it, it's going to be shit. I was so pleasantly surprised. I don't know about calling it the New Avengers, but it's obviously going to play into the next ensemble where we get Cap's Avengers and then these new Avengers and how they will come together, maybe battle, maybe team up. It's cool. Really enjoyed it. The effects, I don't remember any effects looking off in this. And the one thing that Cody Leach touched on that I absolutely take on board here is Marvel got this right because of character development. We spend enough time with each of the characters. There's enough development. And you don't have to watch everything before it for this movie to be a cool movie in itself. Marvel seem to be learning. And I hope the Fantastic Four is as good or if not better than this when I go to see it, hopefully this week. And then we got Ironheart, which needs avenging. We didn't need this TV show. She could have just been a side character and been absolutely fine. It tried to make this more grandiose than it needed to be. There was something off through the entire thing. I did sit and watch it, so it's obviously better than these that are obviously in Hill Hydra. I didn't hate it. It was just a bit like, what's the point in this? And is she going to be around for much longer? Because at this point, I think we're all like, they're going to recast Cap. They're going to recast Iron Man. They're probably going to recast everybody. Maybe they'll keep Thor around, but there's a big reboot or recast coming. There's going to be some sort of cataclysmic event that shifts us away from Avengers and into X-Men. Did we need it? And we certainly didn't need some of the dodgy effects in this, and we certainly didn't need the ghost of her best friend. So there you go. There is my Marvel tier list. All of the Marvel movies and TV shows. I'm glad all the Netflix stuff wasn't in here, because I'd be here for hours. Probably the longest video I'll do on this second channel. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your tier list. I'll leave a link and you can do your own. You can tag me in this so I can take a look. If you're going to record a video, tag me in that as well, because genuinely I want to see what people's lists are, because they're going to be different. Some people are going to be mortified that I put Thor Ragnarok in Goats Assemble, but I love the character of Thor. Some people are going to be like, you put WandaVision in Hail Hydra. It's just my personal tastes. That's it. That's all it can be. All that being said, much love to you all. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and all that cool stuff. Beardo out.